And the three judges agree or unanimously agree to the order to be granted. Hence, I'm sitting alone today. It's not necessary for the other two judges to be present. I'll read the summary for the benefit of the media in the reporting of the case, and this summary does not form part of the judgment. And a copy of the judgment will be made available to the parties, and those who are also interested in the copy of the judgment will contact my secretary. The summary goes as follows. In the matter of the government of the Republic of Zambia versus Esther Lungu and others, the background to the dispute is as follows. The late President Lungu passed away in Johannesburg, South Africa, on the 5th of June 2025 while undergoing medical treatment. The Zambian government immediately announced that a state funeral with full military honors would be accorded to the former president, and it designated Embassy Park in Lusaka, the official burial site for Zambian presidents, as a place of interment. In the days following his passing, representatives of the Zambian government held discussions with the Lungu family, the first to seventh respondents being the former president's widow and children, regarding the repatriation of his remains to Zambia. During the discussions, an agreement was reached and documented in an agreement that the late president's body would be transported from South Africa to Zambia on the 18th of June 2025 to lie in state and for the state funeral to be held before the burial at Embassy Park. However, on 18 June 2025, the very day repatriation was to occur, the family refused to proceed and decided that the late president would instead be buried in South Africa in a private family ceremony. In response, the government of Zambia urgently approached the High Court in Pretoria to secure an order compelling the preservation and release of the late president's body for repatriation to Zambia. The court was called upon to decide two main issues. First, whether a binding agreement has been concluded between the government and the Lungu family concerning the repatriation and burial arrangements, and second, whether the new law of Zambia or the South African applied to determine who had the right to decide the late president's place of burial. On the first issue, the court found that the parties had indeed entered into a valid agreement that the late president's remains would be repatriated to Zambia for the purpose of a state funeral and burial there. The written program for repatriation, funeral, and burial, Annexure FAA7, was held to reflect a meeting of minds between the government and the family, and the principle of pacta sunt servanda, meaning that agreements must be kept applied. The family contentions that no genuine agreement existed, or that any agreement was voidable due to misrepresentations were rejected, and the family's counter-application to declare the agreement invalid was found to be unmeritorious. On the second issue regarding the applicable law, the court undertook a conflict of law analysis. Although the dispute arose in South Africa, being the country where the death occurred and where the remains